Hey you guys, Dr. Sharma here. For a lot of you who have not chosen a medical specialty yet, or are still deciding between specialties or subspecializing in your future, those of you who are still in medical school and still want to know a little bit about the ins and outs about the scores that you should expect or some of the research, we're going to go through the top 5 hardest medical specialties based on the percentage matched and based on their board scores, and then I'll have a few of the special mentions at the end based on the 2018 NRMP match statistics. Now, before taking any of this information into consideration, remember that every individual is unique and every application cycle is different. Every year statistics change, and every year there may be a different program director or a different number of residents that are looking at applications when you go out on the interview trail. So remember to take this all with a grain of salt, and to remember to use your medical school's resources and your match counselor before you go on to the match and applying to different these specialties. Top, there are a lot of different medical specialties, and a lot of them are really difficult to get into, especially the subspecialties, all of which I'm going to be talking about, and then I'll give a couple of shout outs at the end about certain specialties you may have not have heard of. So number 5 is plastic surgery, coming in at an 85.7% match rate in 2018 compared to 77% in 2016. Is actually an increase. Going to be getting into why I think some of the subspecialty surgical residencies this year and compared to 2 years ago have a higher percentage match rate. Plastic surgery step 1 scores averaged at 249, whereas the unmatched participants were at 239. If you're expecting to get a step 2 score, you want a 254, which is the average, compared to an unmatched 248. Number 4 is neurosurgery, well known to be a very difficult specialty to match into. In 2018, it was an 86.4% match rate compared to a 76% match rate 2 years ago in 2016. For those who matched into neurosurgery, their step 1 score averaged at 245 compared to 239 those unmatched. And step 2 scores were 249 versus the unmatched 238. Number 3, orthopedic surgery, well known for its procedures, well known for people moving to Florida and doing a lot of knee orthopedic surgeries, replacements, hip replacements, etc., etc. 82.4 was the match rate in 2018 compared to about 72% in 2016. For step 1 scores, expect to get a 248 as an average and then 240 for those unmatched. And then step 2, a whopping 255 was the average compared to the unmatched step 2 score of 246. Number 2, dermatology. That's right, I'm not making dermatology number 1, number 2, and you'll see why. The percentage for those matching into their subspecialty of dermatology is 81.6%, and that's compared to 77% back in 2016. A very difficult field to match into, expected to be doing a lot of research, a lot of publications, and really getting a lot of connections in order to match into this very difficult subspecialty. I have a video out on my channel about one of my friends who actually matched dermatology, so definitely be able to check that out. Really check it out if you're interested in matching dermatology. Finally, coming in at number 1, that beat dermatology as the most difficult subspecialty to match a residency spot in. Are you ready? Interventional radiology. That's right, this came out of the blue and ended up being its own specialized subspecialty off of radiology, very similar to oncology radiology back several years ago. Has now become the most difficult subspecialty to match into. Percentage match was 58.3%. Almost half the people applying into interventional radiology did not match this subspecialty choice. Now, caveat to this. There really aren't as many number of IR spots as there were for diagnostic radiology or general surgery. Those applying to general surgery and other general surgical subspecialties, I should say, may have chosen IR as their primary residency for the match list, but may have chosen other specialties such as general surgery as a backup. Step 1 score averages for IR came in at 246 for those matched and 242 those unmatched. For a step 2 score, expecting a whopping 255 for the step 2 for those of you who matched, and then 248 for those who are unmatched. Now to mention some of the specialties that I just have to mention that don't make it into this 5, but are extremely important and really turn the tides this year. Have to mention it, psychiatry. That's right, a specialty that was relatively known to be somewhat easier to match into, very similar to IM or family medicine, had a match percentage of 84%, and that's compared to 90% 2 years ago. It seems that the percentage match of psychiatry has been going down. I believe that this is because people are starting to know it as a pretty as a chiller subspecialty, very similar to dermatology, although there aren't as many procedures, obviously. But it's definitely more one of the laid-back subspecialties that people are really starting to be keen to, really starting to realize. Step 1 score is 226 for those matched and 215 for those unmatched. And for a Step 2 score, expect to get 239 versus 229 for those unmatched. Other subspecialties that I have to mention on this, given that we're talking about relatively difficult specialties to match into, ENT, otolaryngology, actually has a very high percentage match rate. Compared to 2016 at 89%, this in the 2018 it was 95.6% match rate. That being said, expect to get really high board scores for ENT, averaging at 248 versus 238 for Step 1, and for Step 2 at 254 versus a 242 for the Step 2 for matching into ENT. Radiation oncology. Have to mention this subspecialty because a very interesting thing happened this year. In the years prior, in 2016, it was a 91% match rate, which is still pretty high. This year coming about to 92.6% match rate. In fact, this year, there were over 30 spots that went unmatched for radiation oncology. Could this be because there aren't as many job openings available in radiation oncology? Could it be because there are not as many academic spots available? Who knows? Maybe this is something you can talk to your advisor about, or really start to do more research on radiation oncology when choosing it as a subspecialty. Step 1 scores came out at 247 versus 238 for those unmatched, and Step 2 scores for radiation oncology for those matched was 253 on average versus 243 for those unmatched. That's it for the top 5 subspecialties that were extremely difficult to match into in 2018. Next, we're going to be talking about the number of research required for each of the subspecialties and anything else that you guys would be interested in hearing about the subspecialties and specializing basically after you go into medical school. Remember that every single one of those fields are unique. Everything has its own flavor, its own lifestyle, everything that really should be important to you. I urge you not to just think about the money that you're going to be making in a certain field or the lifestyle, but rather the overall picture of how it makes you feel and how you enjoy it. I think doing research in a certain field is really important, not only for showing your interest, but really proving it to yourself whether you're really interested in doing that subspecialty for the rest of your life. Remember that medicine is a career that you should cherish for the rest of your life. As always, like and subscribe and comment below for any other questions, concerns, anything else that you'd like me to talk about. Good luck.